Myself Saleha. I am going to deal with set theory. Set theory, we are going to begin this with the very basic concepts. That is, first we shall know how we are going to define set. First thing is how we are going to define set. That is, set is defined as a well-defined collection or well-defined collection of distinct objects. That is, a set is a well-defined collection of distinct objects. Here we are using two words, that is, one is well-defined and the other is distinct objects. Then what do we mean by well-defined and what do we mean by distinct objects? Well-defined is nothing but we are defining sets under certain rule, and that rule is if the terms or elements are going to satisfy the rule, then only we are going to say that it is a set. And then what do we mean by distinct objects? Distinct objects is nothing but the terms are not repeated again and again. It is used only once. Hence we can define a set as a well-defined collection of distinct objects. The next thing is that we use few things, or for example I say 1, 2, 3, 4 and so on, might be 5. This is a set. The numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, these are called as the elements of a set, and we are going to denote a set by capital letters. How we are going to denote sets? We denote it by capital letters. Might be A, B, Q, R, N. We all know few general notations that N is a natural number, R is real number, Q is rational numbers and so on. But then how we are going to define or how we are going to denote the elements of a set? A set is denoted by capital letters, whereas the elements of a set can be denoted by the small letters. That is, elements of a set are denoted by small letters. We can say that A, B, X, Y, Z and any of the small letters. So, the set is denoted by the capital letters and the elements of set are denoted by the small letters. Further, for anything like we want to know whether the set belongs to or set does not belongs to, or any element belong to a particular set or no. How we are going to define that? We have a notation like, suppose I give an example that, as I said, sets is denoted by capital letters. So let me consider it as capital A is equals to 2, 4, 6, 8. We are defining with a certain rule, right? So now I am going to tell that here 2 is an element of A or 4 is an element of A. How we are going to denote it? Here it means 2 belongs to A. This symbol is read as belongs to. How we are going to use this symbol? This symbol is read as belongs to. The same way, I do not have an element or a term called 3 here. So, what is there? 3 is not an element of A. 3 is not an element of A means 3 does not belongs to A. So, So how you are going to write it symbolically, or how you are going to represent it symbolically? It is 3 does not belongs to A. This symbol indicates that does not belong to. It means if we are using this sign, it is going to represent belongs to, and this sign is going to represent does not belongs to. Next is we are going to study the operations on set. We already know so many operations, that is union of sets, intersection of sets, difference of set, complement of set. This is all we are going to study now under the heading operation of sets. So let us first begin with, under those operations, let us first begin with union of sets. Operations on sets. Under that, first we are going to consider union of sets. How we are going to define union of sets? Let us consider that. Let A and B be two sets. Okay, these be two sets. Then union of sets can be defined as any of the object belonging to A, or it might be belonging to B, or it might belong to both A and B. For example, I will tell you, see, let A will be equal to 2, 3, 4 and 5. Let the set B is equals to 3, 4, 7, 5, 6, 7 and 8. Union of set can be written as A union B. This is read as A union B and is defined as it can either belong to A or either belong to B, or it can belong to both A and B. It is, see, we have 2 here, 3, 4, 5 and 3, 4, 5 are repeated. So we can write it at once only. We should write it at only one time, that is 3, 4, 5. And further we have 6, 7, 8. 6, 7, 8. Means union is nothing but the elements might either belong to set A or belongs to set B or belongs to both set A and set B. So in general, how we can write? A union B will be equal to X such that X belongs to A or X belongs to B or X belongs to both A and B. This is how we are going to define union of sets. Here we need to remember that it might either belong to A or belong to B, but not in case of intersection of sets. Let us next move to the next operation, that is intersection of sets. Intersection of sets. Again, let us consider two sets, that is let A and B be two sets. Then how we can define intersection of sets? Intersection of sets is that the elements should belong to both set A and set B. Just keep in mind that there we used either A or B, or it was used, but here in intersection of sets it is that the elements should belong to both A as well as set B. Let us consider the example, same example. Let it be 2, 4, 6, 8. that is set A will be equal to 2, 4, 6, 8 and set B is equals to 1, 2, 3, 4. How we are going to represent intersection of sets? It is represented as A intersection B. How we are going to read it? A intersection B. So what will be our answer? A intersection B is equals to, I said that or I defined that the elements should belong to both A and B. Do I have 2 here in the set A? Even I have here 2, but do I have 1 in the set A? No, we do not have. So we cannot write 1 in A intersection B, whereas I can write 2 because 2 is present in both A and B. Next, here I have 3, but I do not have 3, so we cannot write. Therefore our answer should be 2 and 4. So generally how we can define intersection of sets? Intersection of sets, that is A intersection B, is defined as X such that X belongs to A and X belongs to B. This is our condition for the intersection of sets. Next we are going to study with the difference of a set. Or before that we can say that intersection of A and B, if I get intersection of, that is A intersection B is an empty set. Empty set is nothing but the set having no elements. Means if A intersection B is an empty set, it implies that the set A and set B do not have any elements in common. This implies, what does it say? This implies that set A and set B do not have any elements in common. Any elements in common. Then what does this mean? This means that set A and set B are disjoint set. This implies that A and B are disjoint sets. So next we are going to study with the difference of sets. Difference of sets means the subtraction. How we can do? We can define it as, the difference of set is defined as if we are going to consider 2 sets, that is set A and set B. Then the difference is given as either A minus B. That is, the next one is difference of sets. Again let us consider 2 sets. Obviously let A and B be 2 sets. Then how we are going to write the difference of sets? The difference of sets is denoted as, or is denoted by, we can either denote it as A minus B or we can denote it as difference of AB. Then how we are going to define this? We are going to define it as, or the difference is defined as the elements which are not present in set B. That is, difference of sets is defined as the elements present in set A and not in set B. This is how we are going to define the difference of a set. That is A minus B, or A difference B is defined as a set X such that the condition is that X belongs to A and X does not belongs to B. Then such a set is called as the difference of a set. let us consider one example. Let us consider A is equals to, again let us look over the example, that is A is equals to 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Let set B will be equal to, consider any number, that is 2, 4, 6 and 8. 2, 4, 6 and 8. How we are going to find the difference? It is written as A minus B, or such that the elements should belong to set A and not belong to set B. That is, our answer will be 1, 3 and 5. Only these belongs to set A and it does not belongs to set B. What about B minus A? We did A minus B. What about B minus A? B minus A is X such that X belongs to B, and the condition is that X should not belong to A. Right? X belongs to B. It will be 6 and 8. Here X belongs to B, but this should not belong to A. By looking this, what we are getting an idea? We are getting an idea that A minus B is not equal to B minus A. That is, A minus B is not equal to B minus A. This is difference of sets. Then what about the complement of a set? Complement of a set. We all know about a universal set, right? So, we are going to define a complement of set with the help of a universal set. That is, next one is complement of a set. How we are going to define it? Let U be the universal set. What we have considered? Let U be an universal set and let A be any subset of U. What we are going to consider? Let A be subset of U. Then the complement of set, how we are going to denote it? We are going to denote it as the complement of set is denoted by A dash or A complement or U minus A. And how we are going to define this? We are going to define as the sets or the elements which belong to the universal set and which do not belong to the set A. That is, A dash or which is equals to A complement, which can be also written as U minus A. How we are going to define that? An element such that it belongs to U and it is not going to belong for A. This is how we are going to define the complement of a set. So next we are going to study about laws of algebra of sets. We all have studied few laws, that is, we know commutative law, we know associative law, we have identity law, we have idempotent law. These are the few laws of sets. So let us know what are these laws. That is, laws of algebra of sets. Laws of algebra of sets. Among that, first we are going to consider the commutative law. Very simple. There are two sets. Let A and B be two sets, then what is commutative law? Let A and B be two sets. Then how you are going to define that commutative law? That is A union B will be equal to B union A. This is for union of sets. Then what about the intersection of sets? That is A intersection B will be equal to B intersection A. This is called as commutative law. Next we are going to consider associative law. Associative law. Let A, B and C be any sets for any, they are any three sets. That is, if A, B and C are any three sets, if A, B and C are any three sets, then what is the associative law? It's going to be A union B union C will be equal to A union B union C. The associative law for union of sets. Then what about the associative law for intersection of sets? It is going to be A intersection B intersection C is equal to A intersection B intersection C. This is the associative law for intersection of sets. Now let us go to the identity law. Like for any set A union or A intersection third one is identity law. Means for any set A, union of the identity law, that is A union empty set is going to be the set A again. Similarly, A intersection U, that is universal set, will be equal to A. This is called as the identity law. What about the idempotent law? It's very simple. For any set A intersection A will be equal to A and A union A will be equal to A. That is, it is called as what? Idempotent law or idempotent law. It is for any set A, for any set A union A will be again A, or A intersection A will be again equal to A. This law is called as idempotent law. Now let us move to the next part, that is ordered pair. Then what is an ordered pair? Ordered pair, these are the set of elements in some order. Means we are going to write elements in some order, elements written according to a specific order, that is ordered pair. Ordered pair, the elements written in specific order. Here the elements are written in specific order. Suppose we have two elements, that if A and B be two elements, then what I am going to do is I am going to write in an ordered pair in such a way that I will write that A comma B. This is one order. Here A occupies the first place and B is going to occupy the second place. Similarly, what happens if, what is here? Here A occupies first place and B has occupied second place. Similarly, what happens if B occupies first place and A occupies second place? Then how we can write an ordered pair? We can write it as B comma A. Means the pairs written in specific order are called as ordered pair. Next, we can move to Cartesian product of two sets. Before going to the Cartesian products, I am going to explain you that what happens is sometimes A comma B will be equal to B comma A. When is this possible? This is possible only and only if A is equals to B. Then only we can write that A comma B will be equal to B comma A. And the second thing is right. We can write it as A comma B will be equal to C comma D. That is also when only and only if A is equals to C and B is equals to D. Now let us move to the Cartesian product of two sets. Cartesian product of two sets. Let A and B be any two sets. What we are going to say? Let A and B be two sets. The set of all ordered pair A comma B, where A belongs to A and B belongs to B, is called the Cartesian product of A and B. Let us consider A and B be two sets. Then the Cartesian product, the set of all the ordered pairs, means the set of all the ordered pairs A comma B such that what is the condition? The condition is that A should belong to A and B should belong to B. Then it is called as the Cartesian product of two sets, and the Cartesian product is denoted by A cross B. How we are going to read it? A cross B, it is read as A cross B. Let us look over one example. That is, consider an example. We have a set A is equals to 1, 2, 3. Set A will be equal to 1, 2, 3, and let us consider set B is equals to 0 and minus 1. See, for an ordered Cartesian product, we should have an ordered pair in such a way that the first element should belong to set A and the second element should belong to set B. Then how we can write? A cross B is written as, just go on writing the ordered pair. It is 1, 0. The other one is going to be 1, minus 1. Next 2, 0. Again 2, minus 1. Again we have 3, 0, and the last one is going to be 3, minus 1. This is how we have got A cross B. Next, just look off what is going to be B cross A. What is going to happen with B cross A? Here the first element should belong to set B and the second should belong to the set A, that is 0, 1, 0, 1, 0, 2, 0, 3. Next it is going to be minus 1, 1, minus 1, 2, and again it is minus 1, 3. These are the Cartesian products, that is A cross B and B cross A. Also we have that A cross B is equals to B cross A. Let us take one more example. The example with let it be a set of real numbers. How we are going to write it? X, y, that is example 2, that is if R is a set of all real numbers, then what we are going to do? The Cartesian product of this, that is R cross R, will be equal to x, y, such that the condition is that x should belong to R and y should belong to R. This is called as the Cartesian product of real numbers. And next we are going to consider Cartesian product of 3 sets. This was the Cartesian product of 2 sets. Similarly, let us look after the Cartesian product of 3 sets. Let A, B and C be any 3 sets in such a way that A belongs to A. That is, let A, B and C be any 3 sets such that A belongs to A, B belongs to B and C belongs to C. Then the Cartesian product of 3 sets, that is A cross B cross C, will be equal to set A, B, C such that A belongs to A, B belongs to B and C belongs to C. The same way we can also define, or for example let us consider the Cartesian product of real numbers, that is Cartesian product of real numbers means let R be any, as we have defined here, if R is a set of all real numbers, if R is a set of all real numbers, then it is the Cartesian product of 3 sets, that is R cross R will be equal to x, y, z such that x belongs to R, y belongs to R and z belongs to R. Then this product is Cartesian product of these real numbers is, we say that the sets of point are in the Euclidean space. The next is we are going to study about relations, that is if there are 2 sets A and B, we are going to study their relation, that is relation denoted by capital R. See, relation, what it is? We say that if A and B are any 2 sets and R is the relation, or then a relation R from A to B is a subset, 2 sets, then relation R. This relation R is from A to B. It is a subset of R. What it is? It is a subset of the Cartesian product A cross B. It is the subset of Cartesian product A cross B. What they have told, if A and B are any two sets, then the relation R of what? This relation R is from set A to set B is a Cartesian product of A cross B. And if A is related to B under the relation R, then how we are going to write the set? If, like for example, we are going to written as if A is related to B in the relation R, then how we are going to define? We are going to define R is equals to x comma y such that then first what we are going to write? Then we write A is related to B. If A is related to B in the relation R, then how we are going to write? We can write it as A is related to B. Consider an example. Example, if R is equals to x comma y in such a way that x belongs to A, y belongs to B, then x is related to y. This is how we are going to write. The set of first entries means here this first entry is called as domain of the relation. What we are going to call it as? Domain of the relation. The first entry, this first entry is called as domain of the relation, whereas this second entry is called as the range of the relation. It is the range of the relation. Whenever we are going to represent it, the first element is going to represent the domain of the relation, whereas the second is going to represent the range of the relation. Let us look over one example. These are few things we need to know initially. That is, let us consider set A is equals to 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. That is, what happens if A is equals to 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6, and let set B be equal to what? Let it be equal to 2, 4, 6, 8. 2, 4, 6, 8. And what we are supposed to do? We are supposed to define the relation between the elements. That is how we can say x is related to y. X is related to y implies what and how it is related? It is related in such a way that x divides y. What is the relation here? The relation between x and y is that x divides y. This is the relation we have. Then the relation R from A to B is given by what? Then relation R from A to B. From A to B is given by, we need to keep in mind the relation between them is that x should divide y. How we are going to consider it? 2 divides 2, of course. 2 divides 2. Next, 2 is going to divide 4. 2 is going to divide 6 and 2 is going to divide 8. This is fine. Can 3 divide 2? No, we cannot consider this relation. 3 3 cannot divide 4. Only 3 can divide 6. So we can consider the relation as 3, 6. Same way for 4. 5 at least can't divide any of these. 2, 4, 6, 8 is not divided by 5. So we cannot consider it. Next, what about 6? 6 divides 6. This is our relation of x divides y. I earlier said that the first element is called the domain of the relation, and the second is called as what? Range of the relation. So let us first write down the domain of the relation. See, we are not going to write the repeated elements. We are going to write it only as once, means dropping those which are repeated again and again. It is 2. 2 is almost repeated. So we have written it only once. 2, 3, 6. 2, 3. I think we missed 4. 4 divides 4. We missed here. 3 divides 6. Again 4 divides 4. And 4 divides 8. And lastly 6 divides 6. This is our relation. So what we have? The domain 2, 3, 4 and 6. What we have called? This is called as domain of the relation. This is domain of the relation. Then what about the range? Consider the second elements. It is going to be 2, 4, 6 and 8. 2, 4, 6, 8. What it is? It is range of the relation. We have dropped the elements which have repeated. Next, we are going to study about the relation on a set. How we are going to define the relation on a set? This is how we are going to denote the relation. Now we are going to study the relation on a set. What it is? Relation on a set. It is a relation R from a set A to the set A itself is called the relation on a set A. The relation R from set A to the set A itself. The relation R from set A to set A itself is called as what? The relation of a set. It is called as the relation of a set on the set A. That is, we have said it is a subset, right? While defining relations, we have said that it is a subset of, that is, R is subset of A cross A. We had studied that it is a subset of the Cartesian product. That is why R is going to be the subset of A cross A. How we are going to define it? Thus, R is equals to x comma y such that, what is the condition? X is related to y and x belongs to A, y belongs to A. X belongs to A and y belongs to A. This is the relation on A. Let us consider one numerical example. That is, consider an example where set A is equals to 1, 2, 3 and 4. Set A is equals to 1, 2, 3, 4. And let us define the relation. The relation, let the relation R be less than, okay? Then relation, this R is the relation less than. R is the relation less than, it means we need to find the relation in such a way that it should be, the first one should be less than the second one in the given order. That is, r will be equal to, we should write 1 comma 2, obviously 1 is less than 2, then 1 comma 3, 1 comma 4, here everywhere 1 is less than 2, 3 and 4. The next one should be 2 comma 3 and 2 comma 4. The same way it is 3 comma 4. How it is related? How r is related? R is related with the relation less than. Next, we are going to study about identity relation. Identity relation, okay? It is again the relation where, first let us know what is identity relation. Relation on a set A is the set of all ordered pairs or all ordered points. It is identity relation. Identity relation. How it is? Identity relation. How we are going to define an identity relation on a set A is the set of all ordered pairs x comma y of A cross A, means such a way that x should be equal to y. That is an identity relation. An identity relation on a set A is the set of all ordered pairs x comma y of A cross A such that x is equals to y. What is the condition here? Such that x is equals to y. It is usually, that is identity relation is usually denoted as IA. How it is denoted? It is denoted as IA. Let us look over one example. Suppose we have a set A in such a way that it is ABC. Then how we are going to denote this identity relation? IA will be equal to, the ordered pairs should be in such a way that x comma y, where x should be equal to y. Then here the identity relation will be equal to A comma A, B comma B and C comma C, because the condition is that in the given ordered pair x should be equal to y. Now next we are going to study about equivalence relation. When we are going to say that a relation is an equivalence relation. To say that a relation is equivalence, we have three conditions. Those three conditions are, one should be reflexive, the other is symmetric and the third is transitive. First what we are going to study? We are going to study about equivalence relation. So how we are going to say that a relation R on a set A is said to be an equivalence relation. A relation R on set A is said to be an equivalence relation if, I said it has three conditions. First one is that it should be reflexive. The second one is that it should be symmetric, and the third one is that it should be transitive. So, before studying about equivalence relation, let us know what is reflexive, symmetric and transitive. It's a very, very simple thing. If we have a set A in such a way that for all elements of A belongs to A, for all A belongs to A, the condition is that A comma A should also belongs to R. Then only we say that it is an reflexive. Means any element of A should be such a way that its ordered pair should also belong to the same thing, that is A comma A should belong to R. The same way, what about symmetric relation? For any, means for any, what we are going to consider? Two sets, that is for any A comma B belongs to A, the condition is that for any A comma B belongs to A, the relation, this ordered pair should also belongs to R, and then this should imply that B comma A should also belong to R. Means here see the condition, it is for all. Here for all means each and element and every element of A should have its reflexive, but here in the symmetric they have said that it is for any A belongs, A comma B belongs to A, and if A comma B belongs to R, then what should be the condition? The condition should be that B comma A should also belong to R. Then we say that it is a symmetric. Let us consider an example first. Suppose set A is equals to 1, 2, 3. Then how we are going to define? R will be equal to 1, 2. R is equals to 1, 2. Then 2, 1 should also be written in this relation. Okay. If it is equals to 1, 3, then it should also have 3, 1. It is not that it is for all. It is for any set of numbers. Okay. That is symmetric is that A comma B belongs to A, and it is that if A comma B belongs to R, then when we say that it is symmetric, only if B comma A belongs to R. Similarly, we have transitive. Transitive is nothing but for any, again here it is for any A comma B comma C belongs to A, and if A comma B belongs to R and B comma C belongs to R, then the condition is that A comma C should also belongs to R. Then only we call it as it is transitive. It is also here for any relation. Let us consider an example. That is, if A is equals to 1, 2, 3 and we have a relation R in such a way that 1, 2, 2, 3, then this set should also include 1, 3. Then we say that it is a transitive. When all these three conditions are satisfied, then the relation R on set A is said to be an equivalence relation. Note that all these three relations, that is reflexive, symmetric and transitive, all these three conditions should be satisfied. If any one of these three conditions is not satisfied, then we do not say that it is an equivalence relation. So let us look out for an example to prove that relation is equivalence. What is that example? They have given set S is equals to 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, and R, they have given the relation. What kind of relation it is? R is equals to 1, 3, 2, 4, 3, 5, and then 1, 1, 2, 2, 4, 2 and 3, 1. Is R an equivalence relation on? Yes. Is R an equivalence relation on? Yes. We need to give the reason. Give reason in your support of your answer. Give reasons. Just now we studied that for a relation to be equivalence, we should first try it is reflexive, symmetric and then transitive. If all these three conditions are satisfied, then we say that it is an equivalence relation. So let us try for the solution. For R to be equivalence, what is the condition? To be equivalence relation on? Yes, R must be what? Equivalence relation on? Yes, R must be, what is the first condition? R must be reflexive. Means R should be reflexive. That is A, should belong to R for all A belongs to set R or A belongs to yes, for all A belongs to yes. Of course, we have 1, 1, 2, 2. They are going to belong for the relation R. Then what about the symmetric relation? Second one. To be symmetric, what is the condition? That is A, B belongs to R, then this should imply that A, B belongs to R. It should imply that B, A should also belongs to R. It is for any of them. Means if 1, 3 belongs to R, 3, 1 is also going to belong for R. Hence it is symmetric. And the third one was supposed to be transitive. That is, if A, B belongs to R and B, C belongs to R, then what was the condition? A, C should also belong to R. Do we have that? That is 3 belongs to yes. Of course, 3 belongs to yes. To be reflexive, what is, these are the three conditions. To be equivalence, that is A, should belong to R, A, B belongs to R implies B, means all these three conditions should be satisfied for the relation to be equivalence. First, let us look over reflexive. See, for reflexive it is that for all numbers, means 1, 1 should exist, 2, 2 should exist, 3, 3 should exist, 4, 4 should exist and 5, 5 should exist. We have 1, 1, we have 2, 2, but do we have 3, 3? I think we do not have. Means what we are going to say? Now 3 belongs to yes, but 3, 3 doesn't belong to R. Does it belong? No, but 3, 3 is not going to belong for R. Hence, R is not a reflexive. What it is happening here? R is not reflexive. The first condition itself is not satisfied. Therefore, R is not an equivalence relation on yes. Therefore, the relation R is not an equivalence relation on yes. So what is the first condition? For any of the problems to be equivalence, we need to first check that whether it is reflexive, symmetric and transitive. Only if all these three conditions satisfy, then only we can say that it is equivalence. Any two of them satisfy and one doesn't satisfy, then we do not say that it is an equivalence relation. So students, I hope you all are understanding my class and enjoying it. We are going to begin with the next session in the next video. Till then, bye. Thank you.